Hey Star Wars fans, today we will be covering the third issue of Star Wars Crimson Reign by Marvel Comics, written by Charles Soule. Please make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel as we go through the entire Crimson Reign comic run. This issue follows the Archivist and her quest given to her by Qi'ra. We begin with a flashback to before Order 66 and see her origins. She appears to be a human with purple hair and is beautiful, far from the gauntly creature we meet in the holocron. She was a Sava, or teacher, at the University of Barleth. She was a published scholar and was happy with her life. She was mildly Force-sensitive herself, although only enough to sense it, not wield it, but studied the Force for a living, and more specifically, studied the dark side of the Force. After Order 66, everything for her changed. She became a junk trader, and we begin to see the more ragged look we are used to. We also learn her name, Madelin Sun. She is harassed by a group of stormtroopers who trash her storefront and hut, looking for any relics of the dark side. Just as they find some contraband, the stormtroopers are blasted and taken out by none other than Qi'ra. Qi'ra introduces herself, and as they speak to each other, we get a very interesting dialogue about how the Empire has handled the legacy of the Force and the Jedi. Sava Madelin Sun explains to Qi'ra how the Jedi Order went from a Galactic Republic ally to being all but forgotten. She states that before, they were essentially celebrities, with stories and holodramas written about them. The Jedi and the light side represented the way we should be, but the dark side more closely represented the way we actually were. She goes on to explain that in a single generation, the Jedi and the Force have all but disappeared from the public awareness. This is all due to fear. Palpatine called the Jedi traitors. He made them fear the Jedi. It worked so easily because on a deeper level, people hated the idea of the Jedi because it reminded them of their own failures. And unfortunately, we see this quite often in our society. Everyone loves to see a perfect celebrity fall from grace because it makes us feel a little bit better about ourselves. The Empire worked to purge the memory of the Jedi, making it treasonous to be a Jedi, to use the Force, and to even be aware of the Force. So those that remember either stay silent or die for their beliefs. This is an important piece of Star Wars history, which makes perfect sense. I think a lot of fans get confused about how people have no idea what the Force is, and that they think that Luke is a myth or legend. But this gives a realistic reasoning behind that. Qi'ra takes Madelin to her ship and shows her a room full of relics. We see a few familiar items, including what look like at least 3 lightsabers and the pair of Kyuzo petars, which we saw Dryden Voss fight with in the Solo film. Madelin herself comments on a few other relics, the Dancing Goddess and the Thought Dowser. Qi'ra explains that a large part of her plan involved the history of the Sith, and that there is something that she needs to find in order to achieve her plans of ending the Sith rule of the galaxy. She asks Madelin to join her and to help look for the strengths and weaknesses of the dark side. Madelin agrees, and Qi'ra sends her on her quest to find the Council Grandmaster. She suspects that he is still alive because the Empire never announced his death. They also subtly fix something from a previous comic where Yoda's lightsaber was melted down along with many others. Qi'ra says, one of Yoda's lightsabers. This little line of dialogue fixes what many fans were upset about in the Book of Boba Fett, where Luke offers Yoda's lightsaber to Grogu. Little retcons like this are completely fine with me. I really enjoyed that Grogu was offered Yoda's lightsaber. Although I wish he would have taken it, I hope he eventually will decide to walk the path of the Jedi. However, things like this allow for more fun stories and callbacks, and so I'm all for it. Madelin's research into finding Yoda gives us insight into the depth of Crimson Dawn's reach. They are able to gain access to just about anything. The information leads her to an Imperial detention facility where an Imperial officer, who is also an agent of the Dawn, allows her to meet with a particular prisoner, Jeremock Colton. We learn that he was a pilot for the Organa family and for Tantive 4. She interrogates him and exposes that he also flew the Tantive 3 when it helped Yoda escape the Purge. She asks for his location. He denies the questioning, and we get to see her use the Thought Dowser, an ancient tool from the Ascendant. Basically, it is a tool that replicates the powers of the dark side through technology. She activates it and is quickly able to get the information she needs out of the pilot, the sluice sector. After more investigation, she accurately decides that Dagobah is the only option for where Yoda could be. She arrives to the planet and senses the overwhelming Force presence. Now, previously, we have learned that Dagobah was very entwined with the dark side, and that makes it a great place for Yoda to stay because it would mask his Force energy. After escaping a swamp monster, she makes her way to a cave, a void in the swamp where many tendrils of the Force came together, becoming one thing. She enters the cave, and we see her hair turn from purple to white and her skin to green. We do not see her interact with Yoda directly, and it is unknown if he appeared to her or not. What is clear is that Madelin is aware of his presence there, and that she was taught about the Force from him, whether through physical interaction or through a Force interaction. I know a lot of fans are going to have a huge issue with this storyline. My understanding is that he never physically appeared to her, keeping his elusiveness intact. What I believe is that he showed her, through Force visions, that she can choose the light path and that she can become the best version of herself. And in a way, I like this plotline because it shows that Yoda can essentially convince someone coming to find him to return home, having learned some valuable lessons in the process. And this is exactly what we see Madelin do. She returns to Kira and gives a report that Yoda is dead. By keeping Yoda's secret, Madelin is happy once again. So all in all, I enjoyed this issue. We get bits and pieces of the ongoing repercussions of Order 66 and what it meant to the galaxy as a whole, not just to the Jedi Order. They're sprinkling a lot of Order 66 into their new projects, and I think it's really cool to see just how expansive and wide-stretched the repercussions of Order 66 really were. I am glad that Yoda wasn't heavily featured in this, but I did think that his inclusion was kind of fun. And we also got to retcon something that makes the Mandalorian scene make a little bit more sense. Whether or not you think Jedi should have more than one lightsaber is definitely up for debate, but to me, it kind of makes sense. Let me know your thoughts on this issue of Crimson Reign. Please leave a comment below and like the video if you enjoyed it. Join us next time as we continue our review of Star Wars Crimson Reign Issue 4, which will follow the Knights of Ren as they seek out Vader. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.